I cannot do this.
Cannot do what?
Any of this. I'm 22,
Age means
you're
nothing when
58.
power
Age
is
means
everything.
nothing when power is everything.
Words echoed in Amara's mind as she stood in the luxury apartment overlooking Buson's glittering harbor. 22 years old, dressed in ivory silk, married hours ago to a man she'd spoken to exactly 3 times. Ammon, whose iron reputation in South Korea's import-export circles had made her uncle practically grovel during their business trip to Busan 6 months earlier. Min Taewon was 58, not 70. But the 3-decade gap might as well have been a century. The floor-length mirror showed a stranger staring back. Her coiled natural hair was adorned with delicate pins. Professional makeup masked the anxiety in her dark brown eyes. Her family in Nairobi had negotiated her future to resolve her uncle's catastrophic business failures in Korea. Debts that would have destroyed every Onish loved. Taewon had offered a resolution during that fateful trip. Marriage in exchange for financial security and protection for her family back in Kenya. She'd signed documents in languages she barely comprehended. English, Korean, Swahili translations that felt surreal. The door opened. Taewon entered, and Amara's breath hitched despite her apprehension.
You're shaking.
At 58, he possessed the bearing of someone who'd never stopped training. His tailored charcoal suit emphasized broad shoulders, and his silver-threaded black hair framed a face marked by discipline rather than age. He moved with predatory fluidity. He was striking in a way that unsettled her because she shouldn't notice. Shouldn't feel that flutter when those sharp eyes locked onto hers. Shaking, he observed in flawless English, his baritone carrying a subtle soul accent. Amara raised her chin, forcing herself to meet his gaze. I'm managing. Unconvincing, he replied, crossing the room in measured strides. He stopped close enough that his sandalwood cologne reached her, close enough to see the defined jaw beneath that silver-threaded hair. Are you frightened? Her pulse hammered. Should I be? Something flickered in his expression, amusement, perhaps approval. That depends on your intentions, whether you plan to undermine me. Barely know you. You know sufficient details. His finger traced her jawline with surprising gentleness. You know I control operations spanning 4 nations. You know men respect my name. You know your uncle mishandled investments with Korean partners in Busan and nearly cost your entire family everything back in Nairobi. Amara jerked away from his touch, anger flaring. You didn't have to purchase me like property. Taewon's expression hardened. I could have allowed Park Jin-ho's associates to visit Nairobi and eliminate everyone you love. Would you have preferred that outcome? The name sent ice through her veins. Park Jin-ho was notorious even in Kenya through whispered stories. Ruthless, merciless. Her uncle's terrified expression when those men had cornered him at their Busan hotel 6 months ago still haunted her dreams. They demanded $400,000 within 10 days. Taewon had appeared the following day like an answer and a curse. He'd cleared the debt entirely. In exchange, he demanded Amara as his bride. Her uncle had agreed before she could process what was happening. Within 2 months, she was on a flight from Nairobi to Busan with a new passport and a wedding date. Now she stood in this apartment, married to a stranger in a foreign country, expected to fulfill duties she'd barely comprehended. I cannot do this, she whispered, her Kenyan accent thick with emotion. Cannot do what? Taewon's voice remained even, though something dangerous lurked beneath. Any of this, I'm 22. You're, she gestured helplessly. 58, this is wrong. I should be finishing me degree in Nairobi, not here in Busan married to you. Wrong. He stepped closer, backing her against the window. Busan's harbor lights sparkled behind her, saw different from Nairobi's familiar streets. Your uncle made choices when he came to Korea seeking fortune. You're alive because of my choice. Nothing about survival is wrong, Amara. His use of her name, spoken in that deep voice with that accent, affected her pulse in ways she resented. She hated it. Hated how her body responded even as her mind screamed resistance, but there was nowhere to go. Her passport was in his possession. Her family's safety in Nairobi depended on her compliance. She was trapped in a gilded cage in a foreign country with a man old enough to be her father. Heard what people say, she said quietly. About men your age that you cannot, that you won't be able to. Taewon's laugh was low and genuinely amused. You think I'm impotent? Heat flooded her face. I didn't say that specifically. You implied it. His hand cupped her chin, forcing eye contact. Let me clarify, little bride. Age has diminished nothing that matters. I could demonstrate right now, but I won't. Not when you look at me like I'm a predator. Then what do you want? Loyalty, obedience, eventually an heir. Clinical delivery made her feel ill. I'm not breeding stock. You're my wife. There's a distinction. He released her and walked to the bar, pouring whiskey. You'll understand in time. Amara watched this powerful stranger who now controlled her life in this unfamiliar country. And if I refuse, T1 turned, crystal glass catching the light. Then your uncle dies, your aunt dies, your 2 younger cousins die. Park Jin-ho doesn't forgive and his reach extends to Nairobi. Without my protection, your family becomes vulnerable. Is that what you want? The casual cruelty stole her breath. He wasn't bluffing. She could see it in his eyes, in his posture. This Wasomion, who'd done terrible things, and would do them again without hesitation. You're a monster, she whispered. Yes, he drained the whiskey. But I'm your monster now, adapt to it. He left her standing there, walking into the adjoining bedroom without looking back. The bedroom was expansive, decorated in blacks and silvers with touches of warm gold. The bed dominated the space, massive and intimidating. T1 stood by the window, his back to her, his jacket discarded over a chair. I won't force you, he said without turning, his Korean-accented English precise. Not tonight. Relief and confusion warred in her chest. Why not? Because I want you willing. Now he turned, and the intensity in his gaze weakened her knees. I want you to come to me by choice, not fear. That won't happen. We'll see. He smiled, transforming his face from intimidating to devastating. You have spirit, Amara. I chose you for that quality. A passive woman would bore me within a week. You chose me because my uncle owed money. I chose you because when Park Jin-ho's men threatened you in that Busan hotel, you cursed them in 3 languages and fought back. T1 crossed to her with that unsettling grace. You have courage. That's rare. That's valuable. Amara remembered that day with perfect clarity. The men had cornered her, held a blade to her throat. They'd wanted her to beg. Instead, she'd cursed them in English, Swahili, and the little Korean she knew and fought until they'd struck her unconscious. She'd woken in a Busan hospital with her uncle weeping at her bedside. 2 days later, T1 had appeared with his offer. You were there, she realized. You witnessed it. I witnessed everything. His finger traced the faint scar on her neck where the blade had broken skin. Yao could have died on foreign soil. Instead, you showed them you weren't prey. That's when I decided you were worth saving. Worth buying, you mean? Semantics. He dropped his hand. The bed is yours tonight. I'll take the sofa. You don't have to. I do. Something shifted in his expression, something almost vulnerable. You're terrified and far from home. Forcing myself on a frightened woman, even my legal wife, isn't something I'm willing to do. I have principles, Amara. The unexpected consideration threw her off balance. What kind of businessman has principles about forcing his wife? The kind who understands that fear and respect are different things. T1 moved to the closet, pulling out a blanket. I need your respect more than your fear. Fear makes people unpredictable. Respect makes them loyal. I'll never be loyal to you. You will. He settled on the leather sofa by the window. Because you'll realize I'm the only thing standing between your family and Nairobi and a very painful end. Because you'll see that I treat my people well. Because despite the age difference and circumstances, I'll give you a life your uncle's gambling could never have provided. Amara stood in the middle of the room, feeling lost. I don't understand you. You will. He closed his eyes. Sleep, little bride. Tomorrow, your real education begins. Welcome to Korea. Morning light woke her. Amara blinked, disoriented until memory returned. Married, Korea, T1, she sat up quickly, but the sofa was empty. A note lay on the pillow beside her in precise English handwriting. Breakfast is ready in the dining area. Your clothes are in the closet. Don't attempt to leave the apartment. The security team has instructions. You're safe here in Busan. Of course, there was security. She was a prisoner, not a wife. Amara found the closet stocked with expensive clothing in her exact size. Everything from casual wear to formal gowns. Someone had measured her precisely. She chose jeans and a simple blouse, refusing the designer dresses. Small rebellions were all she had. The apartment was massive. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered views of Busan's sprawling harbor and cityscape. Modern furniture mixed with traditional Korean pieces, strange and beautiful. She found the dining area easily. A spread of food waited. Korean dishes she didn't recognize and Western options that looked familiar. T1 entered as she was examining the Korean dishes with uncertainty. He wore casual clothes now, black pants and a fitted gray sweater that emphasized his athletic build. His hair was slightly damp from a shower. You slept adequately, he asked. No. Amara stayed on the far side of the table. Where are my things? My phone, my passport. I need to contact my aunt in Nairobi. Your phone is being configured with secure international lines. Your passport is secured. You'll receive neither. I'm certain you understand the situation. But you may call your aunt this afternoon on a monitored line. The situation being that I'm your prisoner. The situation being that you're a target. T1 poured coffee with steady hands. Park Jin-ho knows and married you. He knows it was a direct challenge. He'll try to hurt me through you. Until my people eliminate that threat, you don't leave this building without a security detail. Casual mention of elimination turned her stomach. You're going to kill him. Tried to kill you first. This is just business. T1 studied her over his coffee cup. Eat. The kimchi is mild if you want to try it, or stick with the toast. Do I need strength? Training. Amara frowned. Training for what? Survival. He set down his cup. You're married to one of the most dangerous men in Asia. That makes you a target for my enemies and a symbol for my allies. You need to know how to defend yourself, how to move in my world, how to be my wife in every sense. I didn't agree to any of this. Your uncle agreed for you. The contracts are signed. The marriage is legal in both Korea and Kenya. You can fight reality or adapt to it. Your choice. Amara wanted to throw something at his calm face. Instead, she sat and grabbed toast, avoiding the unfamiliar Korean dishes. Fine, train me, turn me into whatever you need, but don't expect me to like it or forget I'm Kenyan, not Korean. I expect you to survive. T1 sat across from her. That's sufficient for now, and I don't want you to forget where you're from. Your strength comes from your roots. They ate in tense silence. The trainer was a woman. Jaiwon was 32, compact and lethal-looking. She wore athletic clothes and studied Amara with sharp eyes. They met in the apartment's private gym, a space filled with equipment. I hear you fought 3 of Park Jin-ho's men, Jaiwon said in English with a heavy Korean accent. I was beaten unconscious, Amara corrected, her Kenyan accent contrasting with Jaiwon's Korean one. But you fought first. That's good. Shows spirit. Jaiwon circled her. Your husband wants you trained in self-defense, weapons handling, and situational awareness. We have 4 months to make you dangerous. Also, I teach you Korean. You need to understand what people say around you. 4 months? Why 4 months? Because in 4 months, you'll attend your first public event as Min T1's wife. Every enemy he's made in 30 years will be watching for weakness. Korean society will judge you. They'll see your skin color, your age, your background. We can't have them thinking you're vulnerable. Training was brutal. Jaiwon drilled her in basic strikes, blocks, and escapes, all while teaching her Korean phrases. Amara's muscles screamed, sweat poured, but something fierce awakened inside her with each movement. This was power. Real power. Good, Jaiwon said after 2 hours, switching to English. You learn fast. We'll make a fighter of you yet. Amara collapsed on the mat, gasping. Why are you helping him? T1, I mean. Saved my life. Jaiwon tossed her a water bottle. I was in a bad situation at 19, trafficked, sold to men who treated women like objects. T1's people raided the location. He could have left me there, but hadn't. He got me medical care, citizenship, a job, a life. I owe him everything. He's a criminal. He's a man who lives by his own code. Jaiwon's expression hardened. In this world, there are predators and prey. Your husband is a predator who protects his own. That's more than most can say. The words haunted Amara as she showered and changed. Weeks passed. The training intensified. Amara learned combat, Korean phrases, weapons handling at a privater range. T1 watched sometimes, his presence both distracting and motivating. She learned quickly. The gun felt heavy at first, but Jaiwon was patient. Breathe, aim, squeeze. Jaiwon's voice was calm. Don't jerk the trigger. Shot rang out. Amara's bullet hit center mass. Perfect, T1 said from behind her. Amara spun, nearly dropping the gun. He stood in the doorway, arms crossed. Sneak up when I'm armed. Instinct. He approached slowly. But your stance needs adjustment. May I? She nodded. T1 moved behind her, his body pressing against her back. His hands covered hers, adjusting her grip. Feet shoulder-width apart. Lean forward slightly. Let the weapon become an extension of your body. His voice was low, intimate. Feel the weight, the balance. Trust yourself. Amara could barely concentrate. Every point of contact burned. This was wrong. This man, this situation, wrong, but her body didn't care about wrong. It only cared about the heat building inside her. Now, T1 murmured, breathe out and fire. She did. The bullet hit dead center. Beautiful. His lips brushed her ear. You're exceptional. Amara jerked away, heart racing. I need a break. She fled to the bathroom, splashing cold water on her face. This was spiraling out of control. Every touch, every look, every word from him made her feel things she shouldn't. She was supposed to hate him, fear him. Instead, she found herself looking for him when he wasn't around, listening for his voice, craving his approval. It was sick. Everything about this situation was wrong. But knowing that didn't make her body stop responding that night. T1 returned late from business. Amara heard him enter, heard his voice speaking rapid Korean on the phone. She should have stayed in bed. Instead, she found herself padding to the living room. He stood by the window, still on the phone, his back tense. Something was wrong. When he ended the call and turned, his expression was dark. "Problem?" Amara asked. "Park Jin-ho made a move, tried to intercept one of my shipments at the port." T1 poured whiskey with controlled movements. He failed, but the fact that he tried means conflict is coming. Conflict, territory dispute. He's challenging my control. He thinks having allies gives him leverage. T1 drained the glass. He's mistaken. Amara moved closer. "What will you do?" "What I always do. Eliminate the threat." He looked at her, something raw in his eyes. "This is my world, Amara. Violence, power, blood. Are you certain you want to be part of it? I could still send you back to Nairobi." "Do I have a choice?" "You always have a choice." T1 set down the glass. "I could send you back to Nairobi. Give your family enough money to disappear. You'd be free." Heart clenched. "And what would happen to you? What do you care?" She couldn't finish because she did care. Somehow this dangerous man had become important. "I care," she admitted quietly. Something shifted in T1's expression. "Why?" "I don't know." Amara wrapped her arms around herself. "You terrify me, you infuriate me, you're everything I should run from, but you also protected me, taught me, made me stronger. I don't understand what I feel, but I can't deny it exists." Amara. Her name was a prayer on his lips. "Do you know what you're saying?" "That I'm staying. That I'll be your wife in truth, not just on paper." She met his eyes. "But I need time, I need you to be patient." Been alive for 58 years. T1 crossed to her, cupping her face with heartbreaking gentleness. "I can wait a little longer for something worth having." He kissed her forehead, just her forehead, then he stepped back. "Thank you," Amara whispered. "Thank me yet. Conflict is coming, little bride. Things are about to get dangerous. I need to know you can handle it." "Can." She lifted her chin. "Jaiwon is teaching me well. I won't be a liability." "You could never be a liability." T1's smile was fierce. "You're an asset, my greatest asset, and I protect me assets with everything I have." The attack came on a Thursday morning. Amara was leaving the apartment with Jaiwon for a doctor's appointment. Routine, normal, until the elevator doors opened on the parking garage and 3 armed men were waiting. Jaiwon moved instantly, shoving Amara behind her. "Run!" But there was nowhere to run. The elevator doors closed, trapping them. The men advanced, speaking rapid Korean. Amara's training kicked in. She dropped low as Jaiwon engaged the first attacker, delivering a brutal strike to his throat. The second man aimed at Jaiwon's back. Amara didn't think. She launched herself at him, remembering everything she'd learned. Strike the wrist. Disarm. Follow through. The gun clattered away. The man swung at her and she blocked, countering with a knee to his stomach. She brought her elbow down on the back of his neck. He collapsed. The third man had a knife. He slashed at Jaiwon, opening a cut on her arm. Jaiwon kicked his knee. He stumbled. Amara grabbed his knife arm, twisting hard. The blade fell. Jaiwon finished him with a punch. Silence. 3 men down. "Okay?" Jaiwon asked, breathing hard. "Think so." Amara's hands shook. "Your arm. Flesh wound. I've had worse." Jaiwon pulled out her phone, speaking rapid Korean. "We need to call T1. This was coordinated." Within minutes, the parking garage filled with armed men. T1 arrived like a storm, his face carved promise. He took in the scene, the unconscious attackers, Jaiwon's bleeding arm, Amara's disheveled appearance. Then he pulled Amara into his arms, holding her so tightly she could barely breathe. "Thank the ancestors. You're safe," he said in Korean, then switched to English. "Are you hurt?" "No." "Jaiwon protected me. I helped." Park Jin-ho's men. T1's hand cupped the back of her head. "This ends tonight." He released her only to bark orders. Men scattered. One helped Jaiwon while another secured the attackers. T1 kept Amara close, his hand never leaving her. "Take her upstairs," he told Jaiwon. "Lock down the apartment. No one in or out except my inner circle." "Where are you going?" Amara demanded. "To end this." T1's eyes were cold, empty. "Park Jin-ho crossed the line. He tried to hurt you. That's unforgivable." "Don't go, please." She grabbed his jacket. "Let someone else handle it. This is personal now." He gripped her wrists gently. He threatened what's mine. I handle that personally. You could die. Been dying since the day I was born. T1 kissed her forehead. This is what I am, Amara, what I've always been, a weapon, a killer. If that changes how you see me, I understand, but I won't let anyone hurt Yuan live. He left before she could argue. The hours that followed were torture. Amara paced while Jaiwan got stitches. The sun set over Busan. Rose. Again, no word. She'd been married to him for 6 weeks. Barely knew him, shouldn't care this much, but she did. Dawn broke over Busan's harbor. The door opened, T1 entered, covered in blood, exhausted but alive. Their eyes met across the room. It's done, he said quietly. Park Jin-ho won't trouble us again. You killed him. No apology, just fact. Amara should have been horrified. Instead, she crossed to him, took his blood-stained hand, and led him to the bathroom. She started the shower, then began unbuttoning his ruined shirt. What are you doing? T1 asked hoarsely. Taking care of you. Her hands were steady. You protected me, now I protect you. She stripped him down, averting her eyes. Then she guided him into the shower and followed, still fully dressed. The hot water turned pink. She grabbed soap and began cleaning him, her touch clinical but gentle. T1 stood motionless, watching her face. You should be afraid of me. I know. Amara washed his chest, careful around the scars. But I'm not. You're dangerous, violent, a killer. Butte, you're also mine, my husband, my protector. I can't reconcile those two things, but I'm learning to accept them both. Amara. Her name was broken on his lips. Don't. She pressed her fingers to his mouth. Don't say anything, just let me do this. She washed him thoroughly, then shut off the water. She helped him dry off, found clean clothes, led him to bed. He lay down like a man in a trance, and she curled up beside him, still in her wet clothes. T1 pulled her clothes, his face buried in her hair. I don't deserve you. Probably not. Amara's hand rested over his heart, feeling it beat, strong, steady, alive. But you're stuck with me anyway. This Kenyan woman isn't going anywhere. They fell asleep tangled together. Two broken people from different worlds finding unexpected comfort when Amara woke that morning feeling nauseous, she knew. The test confirmed it. Pregnant, she was 23 and pregnant by a 58-year-old Korean businessman. A Kenyan woman carrying a half-Korean baby. When she showed T1 the test, he knelt beside her on the bathroom floor. A child, he said wonderingly. Are you angry? Angry, no, shocked, terrified, but not angry. He pulled her into his arms. This is a gift, Amara, an unexpected miracle, a child of two worlds. 23, you're 58. We're bringing a child into a dangerous world. This is insane. It's also beautiful. T1's hand settled on her still flat stomach. A piece of us, a future, something good coming from all this darkness. Over the next months, T1 kept his word. He began transferring operations to his second-in-command. He moved them to a house on the coast. Quiet, secluded, safe. He stayed close as Amara's belly grew, attending every appointment, reading pregnancy books, preparing anniversary that blended both cultures. He even arranged for her aunt and cousins to visit from Nairobi. The reunion was tearful and joyful, and T1 welcomed them with grace. The baby came on a spring morning. Labor was long and brutal. T1 never left her side. When the doctor finally placed their daughter in Amara's arms, everything else disappeared. She was perfect. Dark skin like Amara, sharp eyes like T1, a beautiful blend of Kenya and Korea. What should we name her? Amara asked. Hope, T1 said immediately. Because she's our hope, our second chance, our proof that beauty can come from darkness. Hope, Amara tested the name. Hope Min, I love it. T1 kissed her forehead, then their daughters. I love you both more than I thought possible. You saved me, Amara, you and Hope. You gave me a reason to be better. Saved each other. Amara corrected, looking at her daughter, at her husband's weathered face filled with wonder. She marveled at the journey. From terrified bride in Busan to willing wife to mother. From Nairobi to Korea. From hatred to love, the tabloids would call their story scandalous. The age gap, the cultural difference would fuel gossip, but none of that mattered. Only this mattered. This moment, this family, this love built from impossible circumstances. Amara had been sold to settle a debt in a foreign country. She'd cried on her wedding night, convinced her life was over. But she'd been wrong. Her life was just beginning. Their story proved that love doesn't follow rules or timelines or borders. Sometimes the most beautiful story from the darkest beginnings. Sometimes the wrong circumstances lead to the right person. And sometimes being a 22-year-old Kenyan woman married to a 58-year-old Korean man isn't a tragedy. It's a triumph.